Hey there, it's louisbertson from Total.js Africa, here to help you grow your business and scale your revenue with the Total.js platform. If you are finding value in my videos, make sure you give them thumbs up and check all the links and resources mentioned in the description. Let's jump into it. Welcome to this video where I try to show you how to create and use ORM component within Total.js Flow or Total.js LessCode. In this case, we are in a Total.js LessCode instance, and yes, the goal of this video is to show you how to create from scratch a component like this one, ORM unit, which gives you access to databases. It will give you access to databases like PostgreSQL, which is the database is recommended for Total.js, and you can also create that access to MySQL 2, SQLite 3, or TotalDB. If you are already familiar with Total.js, you may have heard about Total.js Query Builder. Okay, Query Builder is very important to Total.js because it is the only ORM of Total.js that gives you access to databases. This video will follow these steps. At the end of the video, we are going to test the component, okay, and make this small flow work. Okay, this is an API that can give you access to Postgre, okay, and list tutorials. Currently, if we try to click, okay, it's not going to work. Okay, that is why we need an ORM to access the database of Postgre. Okay, that's why we need to put, for example, connection string here and select Postgre, and it is going to allow us to use Query Builder within the component. How does it look like? Okay, let me show you how Query Builder is used within this component. If I click on script, you see we have this global variable that gives you access to the instance of Query Builder. Like you can make find, okay, database table name, and if you want you can use some where clauses, and at the end you return the data back to the request. This is very simple, and if you want to learn more about Query Builder, I am not going to teach you how to do that. This video is just to show you how to build the ORM instance, initialize the connection to database. But if you need to know about Query Builder, you can go to the documentation. Just go to docs.totaljs.com, click on Total.js v4, okay, and come here at the section of Query Builder. The welcome page here will show you a little bit about it. Okay, Query Builder contains a simple ORM implementation of various database engines. Unfortunately, Query Builder is an abstraction layer, and you need to download existing implementations. Okay, the existing implementations, I'm going to come back on them later, will concern PostgreSQL, MySQL, and SQLite. And how to use it, you have this here. And if you need to know all the other methods to access, you can click on database to see. You can find, free, insert, a list, and lots of other methods that you can use with it. The Query Builder also gives you more properties and methods for building and manipulating data access. It is a very great tool that can be helpful for accessing data and manipulating them. If you are using Laravel, okay, you have something like Eloquent to access data. this is the eloquent of Total.js. Okay, if you go back to welcome, you can choose the one you need. Okay, if you click for example on query builder Postgre, you will see it is a separate library that exists on npm. You can install it and then create connection initialization to your database, base it according to your connection string. The connection string can look like this. Okay, this video is going to guide you through how to install this kind of libraries and connect them and use them directly in your Total.js flow or Total.js LessCode applications. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is to create a new component from template. Okay, it's very simple. We just have to click on this green plus button and take a create component. Okay, and then first of all we need a name for our component. I'm not going to call it ORM anymore. I will call it db init. Okay, because this is initialization to our database. And then here we need to put an icon, like we can right click on it and select insert icon. From the list of icons I'm going to select database. Okay, and we can keep it like author is Total.js. You can put your own name. Here you can put version of the component, and here the group of the component. Okay, I am going to change the group, like putting it into databases, so that in the left panel we can see it in the group of databases. Then we move next and remove all this stuff. Okay, we don't need them. Let me remove it. It is useless. Remove this. And yes, we don't need message. Okay, because this is just for initialization. Okay, we can remove it. And yes, we don't need also output or input components, so let's get rid of it. But we will need configuration, close, handler, we don't need it, variables and this stuff, we don't need them. Okay, let us keep it very simple. We need readme, and this is very important. Here we need settings also, so we keep it. This is styling. I don't think we need it that much. Even if we need some CSS later, we will do it directly in component, because we don't need lots of style. Okay, let us get rid of it. This component of script, we don't need it. We get rid of it also. Here I can remove the footer and let the component like that. After we can come back and update it, and now we can save and see how the component looks like. As you can see in the databases group, we see this db init component. Okay, now we can go to the next step of creating a readme. Okay, but before all, we need to check this box to show that we are done off with it. So I need to put a X here. This is a markdown format, and I apply. Okay, next step is create a readme. Let us right click on it, on edit it again. The readme tag is here. Let us see. Okay, this component can create and give access to database engines through Total.js query builder. I'm sorry because I'm typing very slow. Okay, and maybe we can give the link to our query builder. How to create the link? Oh, let me see. Okay, if I do that, and here I paste the link to Total.js query builder. Okay, okay, I copy here and come back and paste. I need to get rid of this, or maybe I can list the databases. Okay, let me take them from this list. I copy, and then I get back to this component and paste it here. We don't need this because this component does not concern NoSQL, because NoSQL is built into Total.js, and accessing it does not necessarily need our component. Okay, the component will concern other databases like Postgre and the others. So I click on submit. Now if we click on read information, you will see some information about the component. Anybody that will take your component, this component will understand how it works. Now thank you. Let's move to the next step. Okay, but before we check this to show that it is okay. Next step, it is create configuration object. Yes, if you look at the component, we have the configuration panel. This is the setting panel. Okay, we will create component configuration object that holds information about these fields. Okay, let me go to edit the component again, and here we have the configuration object. First, we need connection, and default is going to be empty like that, but we are going to make it camouflable. Okay, after I will explain how it works. And then we need a name, because maybe we need a name for our connection. Okay, if your application or your flow application needs multiple connections, you can give a specific name to the connection. Okay, and then you need a pooling. Okay, pooling is something that concerns, and by default we put 0. It concerns Postgre specifically. And finally we need database, because we need a special database. Database here is going to host the name of the library to install. Okay, like here the library name is query builder. Okay, let us get back. You will understand later. Right, if we save, we cannot see any change for now. Okay, but at least we need to check this box as done. Okay, after the next step, you will understand what we did in this step. Okay, next, create settings panel. Great. Creating settings panel is going to link the configuration object to the panel we see here. Okay, the client side panel here that allows you to put some values to our configuration object. Simple. Let me get back to the component and edit it. To do that, we have to go here to the settings tag. We have a div with class padding that helps you to put some paddings. Where does it come from? Maybe I will show you later. It is the Total.js client side. If you go to the documentation and then you click UI components, you have this library for the Total.js client side. Then click on built-in functions. You will see that we have some predefined CSS styles. You have padding here and many more. We are going to use many of them, like this one, font size for FS, and also empty 10 for example. I'm going to come back on it later. Now let us move again to our component. We have to put some form inputs here. For that, we need to use the web components of Total.js. You can find them in componentator, okay, componentator.com. okay, some reusable components here that you can take and build your settings view. Our concern is the input component. You will see this kind of form components, form inputs that we are going to use in our. Feel free to click on this link and see what you can use for your applications. It is a very great tool. Now, coming back to our component, we need to use these declarations and say name of the UI component we need. It is input component. The path is going to be a link to our configuration object, like we put question mark dot connection dot name, okay, and then we put name here as the name of the view name, the display name of our component. Okay, it is so simple like that. Let me save so that you can see how it looks like. If we drag and drop our db init component, you double click on it, you see our first input called name. Okay, now let us continue with the other fields. Then we need another component. We duplicate it and we call it connection, not connection but connection, and we link it to this. Okay, but this specific component is going to have a special config, okay, like camouflage. It is required for first. I can put 2 or I can put only 1, okay, and then we put camouflage on. Camouflage on, and it is okay. Let me save and we are going to see how it looks like. Now we have our 2 components input and it is nice, but this is not the view we have here. We want to have the view, these components left, right in 2 columns. How to do that? We have a special built-in predefined styles for that. Let me edit this component again. If we put it between grid 2, it is going to make it like div dot of class grid 2. It means we are going to use a gridding system to create our 2 columns. Let me paste it on it. And yes, we don't need this, okay, because it is going to put it by default. Nice. If we save, the result is going to be nice looking. Yes, we have these two columns. Now we continue with the two other configuration object attributes. Edit it again. We need to put pooling and database select input. So now let us copy this name here, and this is pooling. It must have a special config too, like we need to say that the type is going to be number. This way we say that pooling will contain numbers only. Sorry, as you can see, I haven't updated the path. That is why it is synchronized like that. There is some kind of data binding between the two. So let me pull pooling here. Now we need a last component, input component, that we are going to call database. It is going to be a select database, a select input, okay, database, and the type is going to be select, but we don't need to specify it like that. We just need to say deal source, and then we put key value thing to link to list our select options, okay, like query builder page, and we put this and we call it postgre. Sorry, and then we need query builder MySQL 2. As I said, this must be the name of the library to install. I'm sorry if the dog is barking around. Sorry. How do I find the list of Total.js query builder? Okay, if you go here, Total.js organization of GitHub, and you search for query, okay, you will see them: query builder pg and query builder MySQL 2. Okay, let us get back to our component and paste it here, and I'm going to call it simply this is the display name as can contain spaces or anything. Okay, MySQL 2. Okay, I put a comma and I get back to the list again. I take okay, query builder SQLite 3, and I get back to component. I paste it as the key, comma, and the last thing is going to be Total.js query builder totaljb. You don't know about totaljb, it is fine. We are going to make another video about it later. Donc, so I put totaljb here, and it's okay. If I save, now if I drag and drop the component, double click on it, we see a very nice setting panel. If we list, we select whatever we need. Okay, but it is not finished. We still have some steps to go through. Okay, first of all, before all, we check it as done. Now we need to create configuration function. Great. This configuration function is going to be simple. We just need that if we double click on this panel. Okay, we fill in the form and we click on apply. A function is going to be called and is going to be this function config, and we want to check if connection string is being provided. We are going to install from npm the query builder library, okay, the concerned query builder library, and then after installation we just init the connection to database. As we can see here, if you take query builder pg, it is very simple. Okay, scroll down, you see the steps. After you install it, you can just call it to instantiate the connection to database. Yes, the condition is just to have the connection string. Okay, let us do that. It is very simple. We have a global function in Total.js that is called npm install. Okay, let me write the code and then I explain you how I did that. So you use config dot database dot connection. Okay, if the connection string exists, then we call npm install, and it is going to be config dot database. Okay, and we have a function to call after this. This function does not provide any parameters, doesn't provide anything, so it just means that it is asynchronous. After we install it, we can execute the following step, which is to instantiate this. Okay, let me copy and paste it here. Now, yes, the connection string is this, so we need to call it here config.connection to put the connection string. And here the initial to initiate a connection, maybe we need a special name. Okay, we can call config.name, and if there is no name, we put this default name. Okay, because this is not it is not required. User may not want to give a special name to the connection, so we don't need to force. And as you can see here, the third connection parameter can be the pooling. Like here we need name, connections, pooling. Okay, let us put the pooling and give default value to it too. So config dot pooling or 0 or simply null, it depends. So this is great, and it is done for our application, our component. I mean, it is done. Oh, sorry, I did not update here. It must be config dot what dot database. Okay, like if here it is MySQL 2, it is going to require MySQL 2, because after installation, of course, after installing it from npm, okay, we require it and init it. That's what it means. It will be same thing with SQLite 3 and TotalDB. If in the coming days we add MongoDB, it is going to be the same. So this is correct for our component. Let me save. So it is done for our configuration function. Now let me check it and mark it as finished. The next step is to update the UI, because we want the UI to look like this. Okay, but how we are going to do that? Okay, we want to make it larger, okay, and center the icon and give it a name. Wow, let us do that. So I right click on it and edit. Let us scroll down here. We have going to almost get rid of this. You can keep component, but we don't need the name here. Okay. Okay, we don't even need this header. Okay, let us keep it simple. We can put it in a div of padding. Okay, and we put the icon, and this icon may have a style because we want it to be a little bit bigger than this. We say font size is going to be 50 pixels, like that. And maybe we can center this. Okay, let me save and see how it looks like. We drag and drop. Nice, you can see it here. Maybe we need to change the color of it. Okay, why not? So we need to scroll down here and put a color. Okay, to do that we can right click here and select and set the color. Let me put the color to this one. Okay, it is a random color, you can put whatever you need. And then we need a div with class. Maybe we need some font size. Okay, class fs 10, no, fn 12, and also empty 10. Okay, and we click all of this is sorry. Okay, empty 10. Okay, if you don't know where it comes from, you can get back to the documentation. Okay, I was showing you UI components. Okay, and then scroll up here, built-in functions. We have CSS built-in predefined styles. Okay, we have empty, meaning margin top, and then font size 12. Great, let us get back to our component and finish with it. I'm going to call it okay, I can simply put this. I think it's going to work. Okay, like if I put name like that, okay, it is going to copy paste the name of the component here. Let me save to see. Yes, this is how our component is going to look like. Let us save, and it is okay for our step. Okay, let us mark it as done. Let me save, and then we need the last to insert to complete the last step, which is testing. Our component is here. We can right click and start putting a name, like the name which can be default here, and database connection. We are going to test with Postgres, so I'm going to copy this connection string here. I paste and update the connection string. I have a database in my computer, this other computer in a local Wi-Fi network. I'm going to put louisbertson, which is the username on that database. The password is simple, 3456. Okay, and IP address is 192.168.1.111. okay, the port number remains the same, and the database is LessCode. If I still remember very well. Okay, it is a local database. Let me show you how it looks like. Okay, local database. Okay, the database is here. The table is tutorials, and we just have one row. Okay, as I said, this is I'm not afraid to show you the IP address of this because it's a local IP address. Let me save it. Yes, as we can see, it is camouflable. Okay, it means that you click, it shows up. You lose it. Is if it loses the focus, it is going to hide it. It can be very interesting if you have to do some screen recording or yes. After that, after we save it like that, we must see that. Let me see if there is some errors here. Yeah, this is the previous errors. We don't have other errors, so it is okay. Testing is not okay for now. Now if we open this, okay, this script, you see the table name, it must work now. Let us test to see if the connection is okay. It seems to not work. Okay, why it is not working? Let me scroll and see what is wrong here. Let me just check the code again. Yes, here we should not keep the callback here. The callback is the problem, so we need to put a normal callback function, and in that callback maybe we try to console.log our error and response, and then use success. Okay, using success is going to make it like we put the response back to the request. If we save, okay, we click on apply and close it here. Now if we click, boom, it works. Okay, this data, where does it come from? It is simple, it comes from here. Okay, if the console log was working too, it comes from the database. This is Postgre database. Okay, and here is the row that you see here. So it works fine and it is okay. So now we can check it, mark it as done. So our mission was successful because we went through the steps to create from scratch our component to access the database. You can feel free to test the other database. I don't have a MySQL database connection, but you can feel free to test them. Okay, but even if I haven't tested them, I think that we can publish this component for the community. To do that, it is very simple. We right click on this and click on publish to community. It will ask the email address and a message. The message is not it is not required. You can skip it if you don't have any special message, but we can, for example, take the readme information, the readme message, we copy and we click on publish, we paste it here. Okay, and then we can click on submit. Boom. Yes, it says thank you regarding the publishing, we will contact you soon. Thank you so much. So now what we need to do is to thank you. Now thank you very much for watching this video. I wish you to subscribe, like and comment, give some comments about it, and yes, maybe you need me to share this component. I will put a link in description so that you can have it on GitHub. Create a repository for this okay, but I would just want you to subscribe, like, comment, and see you in the next video for more tutorials. Thank you.